Hello and welcome to the Legacy Crusaders YouTube channel. This is Benji, and today we're going to be exploring what you can do with one Girsu in Orcust combo since Harp Horror has gone to 1 now. I've actually been playing Phantom Knight Orcust for like the last 2 years with other engines, with Shadal, Mech Knight, Punk, Rockets, Tearlament, pretty much anything I could throw them into. I had Unchained Orcust is what I was playing now, but I'm losing 2 Sharvara, got Harp Horror, so I'm probably going to be playing PK Orcust with maybe a Horus engine. The Horus engine really makes Orcust better in the sense that Nightmare is a real brick in your hand, but with the Horus cards giving you easier ways to discard Nightmare, opening Nightmare is less of a problem. Anyways, I'm going to show you what we can do with normal summon Girsu and equivalents of normal summon Girsu. So because we're using normal summon Girsu, it is a weaker card than if you were to play like the Scrap engine, because the Scrap engine doesn't Dark Lock you immediately, and you get a little bit more out of it, but it requires you to play more bricks, and the deck already plays a lot of bricks as it is. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to normal summon Girsu, we're going to activate its effect and send from deck to graveyard. We have a choice between Nightmare and Harp Horror for sensible sends. Personally, I always would prefer to send Nightmare first, because then we haven't used Harp, and if we have access to it in hand or the wand, we can still get it to the graveyard later. We could send Harp Horror, it can get immediately bestialed, which is fine if we can discard a Nightmare or a wand that gets it back. So in the long run, it doesn't really make a difference. I would prefer to have Nightmare, because I want my Galatea's options to send back done immediately. So I'm going to send Nightmare. We'll next use Girsu to summon a token to both players' fields. Then no matter what you do, if you use Girsu as your starter, you've summoned, your 5th summon will be Galatea. If you did this with something like Armageddon Knight instead, or Scrap Recycler, you will be at your 4th summon on the Galatea summon. So here's what we're going to do. We have 2 choices. We can summon Linkuriboh and then go into Galatea for summon 5. Or we can send Nightmare and use Harp to summon Symbol for summon 4, and then we can make summon 5 Galatea. Really depends if you play the Linkuriboh, if you want to use the Linkuriboh, because you might want it to stay in your extra deck, or you might want it to be in the graveyard. I played a regional where I was against Lost World Dino, and for whatever reason, I made the Linkuriboh, and then the fact that it was in my graveyard at all times was actually really amazing. So I'm going to make the Linkuriboh. So no one's going to nib you here, because Nightmare can just send Symbol in and bring it back, but this is your first opportunity to be nibbed. So we're going to send Nightmare. We're going to use Nightmare to send Harp Horror. At this point, you would probably do the shuffle back to attach to make sure you at least get 1 card out of Galatea. So we can set either the Babel or the Crescendo. It depends on what you prefer. I prefer to start with Babel. If you're playing like a super combo deck, there are like 1-card combo versions in Super Heavy Samurai Orcust that you can play, where you'd prefer to get Babel Crescendo, because the goal is to add a counter trap to the monster board so Dark Ruler doesn't just blow you out. So I'm going to put Babel on the board. Next, we're going to activate Babel, just so that Harp is a quick effect at this point. We're going to use Harp Horror to send Symbol Skeleton, or to summon Symbol Skeleton, because we already used Nightmare. Then we are going to overlay for Dingirsu, who's going to reattach Harp Horror. And then here you have 2 options. You can, well, there's really 1 option. You're going to make IP Masquerena, but you have 2 options on what to do after that. And I like to take this side of the field, because I find the token in this zone is the most disruptive to my opponents. Like if they're playing like Salad, like Sunlight Wolf would point down here, which would be a problem for things like Jack Jaguar and so on. This token's also really annoying for decks like Kashtira. It's super annoying for decks like Exosister that either must control a specific type of monster or no monster at all. This is really good against like /Scareclaw, because if they make Lightheart here, they can't summon to its pointer. Just thoughts on what the token can do that's disruptive to an opponent. Now we have Symbol Skeleton in here, and the big choice at this point is, do we use the Symbol? Do we use the Symbol to bring back the Galatea or not? That's the real choice. If we leave it in the graveyard, we're actually playing around Cosmic or MST or something like that on Babel, because if you start your turn, if your Babel gets hit immediately with Cyclone or MST or Twin Twister, you can chain Symbol and then summon Ding and attach a card, even though you don't want to send a card at that point because you don't know what you need to stop. At least you can protect your IP from battle. At least the Symbol is in the graveyard to immediately get you value off of summoning back either Girsu to Foolish, the Nightmare, the Wand, or another Symbol, and Harp Horror can summon something from the deck as well. Or you can bring back the Galatea now to make sure you get an extra set on the next turn, which is also good. Also, by summoning back the Galatea now, you can start your turn with IP into Appaloosa if that's actually a better play for you. So let's say we're going to bring back the Symbol Skeleton just to show what all the options are. So I'm going to bring back the Galatea, and at this point we would pass turn. The other weakness here is if you get nibbed now, you don't really have much because you've used everything. If you got nibbed trying to pass on the IP before, you get the nib token, you can Symbol, bring back the Girsu, and then you can link off for another IP. So you could play 2 IPs and then have IP plus Harp in graveyard, and then Harp can summon another symbol skeleton, which you can then link off with IP to make another play. I don't know if I'd play 2 IPs, but if you're going to play the deck, that's a possibility. You could also just make the SP and then banish the Nibbed and just leave SP on your board. And then you have Harp Horror for Girsu, which can send the skeleton to the graveyard for the next play. So if we pass turn here, like in this case, if we don't have the skeleton in the graveyard and we get Cosmic Tier, all we can do is use Harp to summon a skeleton or a Girsu, and then this gets banished. But at least we'll have a monster out of the deck. But let's say they don't do that, because not everybody's playing. So when they try to go battle phase, we have options. Or if they make a play and we know what deck they're on, we can set a card with and use IP, or we can do both, matter of fact. So I'm going to sequence this where I get Appaloosa on the field, and also put back a card and set for Galatea. So we're going to activate the Harp Horror first. No, I need IP to link last, which means that I need the Harp on the field. So we're going to use, but then I'll get Dark Locked. Okay, so if I'm going to make Appaloosa, then Galatea is going to shuffle back Symbol, but then whatever I summon off of Harp of Night, I guess we send with Girsu. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to activate IP, chain, shuffle back Symbol Skeleton. We can set Crescendo, just so it's, or Orchestrated Return, which some people are going to play. We can go for Appaloosa. Obviously, you can go for SP. And then if our opponent tries to do something, we can then Harp Horror for Girsu, which can then send... There's a couple of options. You can send Nightmare, which can give your Appaloosa an 800 boost. Give it an extra negate. It's really not letting me try to do all the plays I want. Or you can have Nightmare send Symbol, and then Symbol can bring back the Dingirsu. So that's like assuming max value and your opponent doesn't really do anything. And at this point, I guess you would attach we would attach Nightmare, so Nightmare can send Wand, and then Wand can access Harp or Symbol. And that's basically what the Orcust combo is. I'll just briefly show you an alternative line. All right, so here's the Scrap Recycler concept. It's effectively the same thing that we just did. So Recycler is going to send, Harp Horror is going to summon Girsu. Now, this is a big difference between starting with Girsu and starting with Recycler, is that Girsu cannot be summoned off of the Harp Horror. But the Scrap Recycler summoning the Girsu is effectively the same thing as summoning the token in this case. So this kind of substitutes. So we're going to send Nightmare. We're going to link off for Galatea. Use Nightmare to send Symbol Skeleton. Shuffle back Nightmare to get Babel. We're going to overlay for Ding to attach Harp Horror. Activate Symbol, bring back the Girsu, which feels wasteful. And then link into the IP. And this time we only end with Harp Horror in grave, so we have to like fire off Harp pretty early to get Symbol into grave. But we can also send Girsu, and then Girsu can send Symbol. That way you can bring back the Ding before you're pressured to activate the IP. Alternatively, we could have done this route going through World Wand, so that's what I'll do now. So we're going to activate Scrap Recycler, sending Nightmare this time, which is, again, effectively the same thing as sending Harp Horror. We're going to send Harp Horror, use Harp Horror to summon Symbols, to summon Girsu. In this case, I'm going to actually send the World Wand. Wand's going to bring back the Harp Horror. Link into Galatea. Galatea is going to shuffle back Nightmare. Wand is always what you want in the deck, shuffling back Wand. Going to set Babel. Overlay for Ding. Ding's going to attach Nightmare. Then we will make IP. So this way we end with Harp and Nightmare in graveyard versus Harp and Symbol. So there are pluses and minuses in all the different sequences you can use to do the combo and how you want to end it. Personally, I think I prefer the other version where I have Symbol in graveyard, because as I've been playing the deck for so long, I just want my Symbol to be live immediately for whatever reason. All right, and that's pretty much all there is about the one-card combo. Let me just show you the Phantom Knight one-card combo if you're playing PK Orcust. It's a little different than this. So this is the one-card Girsu combo for Phantom Knight builds. If you want to play a Phantom Knight build, I'm going to send Nightmare, activate Girsu to summon tokens to both fields. Going to summon Linkari, go into activate Nightmare, sending Harp Horror. Activate Nightmare to shuffle back and set Babel. This is all on summon 4. Activate Harp Horror, summon out Symbol Skeleton, link off for Rusty. Now, There are actually two options here. One makes this a 1.5 card combo, is you can send Torn Scales to graveyard and set Fogblade, bring back Galateo with Symbol Skeleton, overlay for Ding, use Rusty to pop the Fogblade to bring out the Torn Scales, discard for Ancient Cloak, search for Silent Boots, special summon, overlay for Breaksword, pop itself and the token on the other side of the field. That way you get to keep the Dingirsu on the field to protect your cards, as well as you get to end with IP. So it would be 1 Fogblade IP. All right, so we're going to send Ancient Cloak and we're going to set Fogblade. We're going to search for Silent Boots. And then we want to summon the Silent Boots before we get Nib. So if our opponent was waiting to Nib for later, this is where we'd want to at least get the Silent Boots in graveyard so that we can set a trap card. We're going to summon back Galatea. We've already used Galatea, so we're going to overlay for Ding. We're going to activate Ding to attach. We're going to attach we can attach either Harp Horror, or we can attach Symbol Skeleton. I like to have Symbol Skeleton in the graveyard immediately. And there's two ways to do that. You can either have if you intend to keep the Dingirsu on the field, you can have Rusty pop Ding and then Ding protect and detach the Symbol Skeleton, or you can attach it and then link off for IP right here. And often when I keep my opponent with the token, I'll grab Phantom Nightwing to protect the token so they can't crash it to do plays that require them to not have a token. But not knowing, I tend to grab the Fogblade. And then this is the end board. So it's Orchestrated Babel, IP Masquerena, Symbol in graveyard with the option of summoning back Galatea, Dingirsu, or with the option of summoning back Galatea, Dingirsu, or Girsu. And Girsu can send Nightmare, which can send Wand. We also have 2 Fogblades. And if we summon a card to Rusty's Pointer, if we summon Dingirsu to Rusty's Pointer, we can get a pop as well. And that's basically all the 1-card combos I was going to cover. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys next time.